Hello, this is John, and in the last video we talked about making a diamond that's a 60, 120, but now we're going to talk about irregular diamonds. Depending on the shape of your project, a 60, 120 diamond may not work. So in the first video, we talked about the components of a homemade cutting system. One of the triangles we mentioned was an adjustable one. And that's what we're going to use for here. Now if I tried setting the triangle over this way here, then that means my diamond's going to come out looking that angle there. And that's not what we're wanting. We're wanting it this way here. So what we'll do instead, we don't want to use the side lines, we want to use the main axis, excuse me, because that's what's going to give us our most accuracy. And sometimes it's hard to actually see over top of the line, so sometimes I just a little above the line and I parallel it to get where I need to be. Okay, now I'll snug it down. If I look at my angle, it's 70, 1, 2, right at 3. So I'm going to adjust it to 73. Because later when we go to divide the diamonds in half, we're going to have to cut this angle in half. We're on the bottom scale now here to 70. But we're going to come over here to half of 73 would be 36 and a half. And so we'll set that on the top scale over here. So we got our angle set. Because the adjuster's on one side, we can't flip it over and back and forth. We're going to set on the hypotenuse to the long side. We'll come over this way here. And like we did before, we're going to leave a gap here. We're going to set it up against a triangle. And we'll pin it in place. Again, these are Morton layout blocks I'm using. They're pretty handy for this type of work. But you could use pieces of yardstick or whatever works for you. I've seen people cut yardsticks down or rulers. As long as you got something with a nice edge you can work with. Let's grab a piece of glass. So we got our angle here. We'll set this on top. We're going to come back down to our straight edge. And remember, we want to leave a little space right here. Now, since I've scored with my right hand mostly, I can score some with the left. I'm just going to step to the side here. This is and I'll put my finger on top so it doesn't go anywhere. Same with the glass. Make sure my arms got room to walk past my body. And I'll score down. I'll take this piece, got here, set this in here against our straight edge. And last time we took upside down, we set against here, and we use that to line up with. Another option for you is you can turn it this direction here on top and use it this way here, whichever is easier for you to visualize. Then we'll take, I'm just going to set this next to here. I'll slide it over until I think it's where I want it to be. Then I'm going to hold this in place. Or grab a piece of tape and tape it in place. I found I used to keep 3 or 4 pieces of tape at the ready. Then I don't have to jump around trying to tear it off a roll at the same time. We'll take a magic marker, make a little reference mark here. Because this edge here is going to have to match this side here. Again, we'll come back and make sure the triangle's tight in here. Against the straight edge. I want to take and use a start point. That way I make sure I got a good clean score the whole way. And you aren't hearing much of a score run because, again, a light score will actually run a lot easier. Now we're going to put this against the side. Set it over there. And we're off just a tiny bit maybe, but I don't think it's going to be enough to bother us. We're going to leave it how it is. And we're just going to start scoring. Potentially, we could probably do 3 strips, but this is shorter than what our other score was when we used it this direction, which gave us a long run. Well, we're just going to do the 2 strips for now, but I've got to get my right angle first. So we'll hold it here. This has a slight little flare or bump out here. So I'll take my diamond encrusted file. I'll just wear it down a little bit. I could take it to grinder, but then I'd have a lot of water and mess to mess with. And then I got my starter piece. Yeah, I want to make sure that's tight against my fence. And as we talked about in previous videos, we don't want any flares to get cut on. So if you see any flares, we get rid of them as we go. And when you work with points like on triangles and such, it's kind of hard to not have some flares here and there. We're keeping an eye out for any little debris that might keep it from making a good fit. Pull this down in here, hold it down. I'm starting to get a little debris in here. Take my whisk broom, I can push it through that gap there and sweep it out this way. Looks like we'll barely get another one here on the yellow. Alright, so now we have an assortment of diamonds. Take our pattern, we can see that we're going the right orientation. Now remember I said we're at 73 here, and if we divide 73 in half, it comes out to be 36, or 73, cut it in half, it comes out to be 36 and a half. So we're going to turn this down here using the top scale, 36 and a half. Now, if I take my diamond and set it on here, my point should line up this way. And if I slide down to the other end, same orientation. Now these points here should line up. And that's how we go about halving and quartering them. So then what we do is we take our glass cutter and slide this left or right to where the points line up, the cutting wheel. I'd like to take a little layout block and pin it in place. Now I'm ready to make as many as I need to. I can just set it in there. It's got a little cradle. Oh, I'm off a little bit, so we're going to have to move it. Always double check yourself. Rock them, not wanting to move. There it goes. That looks better. Now make sure we leave a gap down here for the cutter to come through. When I was putting the push pin in last time, I must not have been straight and it pushed it sideways just a little bit. Alright, now we're ready to score. And we do the same thing over here. We line it up. We can take another little layout block. Now, because we haven't moved the tape here, if we need to make some more diamonds, maybe we go to split these, and instead of splitting how we want them to, we lose a tip. I generally make a couple extra diamonds in case that happens. We can pull this out of the way, readjust it back to the 73, and we're already set for our stops. But we'll go ahead and we'll do another split here. And then we're going to pull all this stuff out of the way so we can look a little closer at what we got accomplished. And when I slid those, I made sure my fingers stayed on top of the glass and not down on the surface because I didn't want any little shards in there. I'm going to slide this down to where this clear piece is somewhat in line here. That just gives me a straight edge to work from. We're not going to actually match the lines too much. But if you notice, these are pretty close to being 2 squares worth. So we turn around, we set this here. You use a quarter diamond over here. And basically you see that we have the right angles, and by using the adjustable triangle, you can get your diamonds whatever angles you actually need to fix your pattern. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.